Yes, I'd like to share with you this morning the strategic experience of two players in the cloud who met and then decided to take an approach based on open cloud to attack what we call the hybrid cloud configuration or solution. This is extremely important because everybody say now, we say that hybrid cloud is the way to go. It's a big trend. It is completely the thing that all companies, small, large, are going to adopt. And we read papers from analysts about this. And what I'm bringing to you, it's not analyst paper. I'm bringing to you an analysis that has been made by two players in the industry who decided to approach the market based on requirements which have been expressed by enterprise. So I'll start first by giving you a market view of the hybrid cloud and things which have been measured by some companies, particularly in the United States. And then the journey to the cloud, how to start with a private cloud and go to a multi-cloud configuration, and why this can be done. It's not from a technological point of view, but also from a functional point of view. And then tell you about our experience. We in Prologue, we participated in an open cloud project that has been funded by the French government. And then talk about Chaos Technology, who is our partner, who decided to join us and do this hybrid cloud offering. So I push here. Okay. So one of the studies that have been made that illustrate the power of hybrid cloud was done by a company called RightScale, who is based in the United States, and they have a very good offering in cloud management platforms. They are doing every year a study on how companies are using the cloud. So they issued a questionnaire that have been sent to around 70,000 people, and 1,000 respondents have given results. And those respondents were in companies like having 1,000 employees more or less. And the result is really very illustrative of the approach toward multi-cloud. On a percentage base, 74% of the respondents, they are today using multi-cloud. Few 9 and 13% are using single private or single public, but however, in the 74%, there are 48% who are using a hybrid cloud, 15% multiple public cloud, or 11% multiple private cloud. That shows that, and this figure is higher than the figure which have been captured in 2013. So it's definitely something that is happening. It's not, forecast or analysis of the future. It's really factual data. Now, if we take the journey to the cloud and how companies start by thinking of going to a cloud with and being careful about it. I mean, this is what we are observing in France in particular, and in many other countries also, is that we're not going to the cloud just because the technology is there, because it's cheap, because it's agile, and it's everything we know about in terms of why we are using cloud. We need to be careful. We need to preserve our data. We need to preserve our application. And this is mine, and I keep it in my company. And this really, I mean, I've been hearing it many, many times. And then, hey, convince me if I go to the cloud that I'm going to be able to control how my data is going to be exploited or protected. So bursting is considered as a first approach to go to a hybrid cloud. Like, I have my private data center that I transformed into a private cloud. And from time to time, when I need resources, I just send some application to run during a peak period, depending on the seasonality of the business. And then I bring it back. So this is very, very common today. Now, we can go beyond bursting and do a strategy where we define a hybrid approach in which we say, okay, I'm going to run my critical application in my data center, and I'm going to put in the public cloud something like a web application for customers. Then, so the mission critical factor is the basic design factor to do a hybrid configuration. Now, full hybrid is much more flexible, where you distribute application in private, in public, and you go beyond the mission criticality factor of your application. Then comes the multi-cloud approach, where you do a choice of a cloud because it provides a specific functionality that some other cloud don't have. For instance, a public cloud can have a large content delivery network. Like, for instance, Amazon, they have content spot or edge points where they can deliver all over the world content, streaming, things like that. So you use them only for this, and you use another cloud for high-performance computing. So you distribute, you use the intelligence of multiple clouds to perform a particular application. Now, having said that, so the configuration I was talking about is represented here. This is typically a multi-cloud solution where you have a private cloud with your mission critical application. You have public clouds, many, that you are using for e-commerce website or high performance computing or analytics or archival. And you're using also a public cloud for content delivery network. You know, for a global company, this is very important, and this is the best of breed approach of multi-cloud. The hybrid cloud, in its simplest form, is private to public and bursting or exchange, as I said before. So this is the most sophisticated one, as this is the most simple one. And definitely there are companies who are using this and companies who are starting using this. Now, what is important is, no matter what configuration you have, there is a fundamental pillar here, which you use, that's called cloud management platform or broker, where it becomes the center of orchestration of various applications in this configuration or this configuration. So the broker is a fundamental, let's say, orchestrator of application you want to send in those different clouds. So you can configure your application, you can deploy them, you can measure, you can do governance, you can optimize, you can do cost analysis, and then you do migration of application from one cloud to another through the broker. So there is nothing that works in a multi-cloud approach or hybrid cloud approach without a cloud management platform. Now, the challenge is where you can get a broker. Is it something that one cloud provider will deliver? Or is it something that you choose from a neutral organization? And definitely the best approach is to go to a neutral company to select your cloud management platform or a broker. Because if you select one from one provider, because every provider has some cloud management platform. If you take one, it's hard to think that this one is going to manage other competitors' cloud. So by selecting a neutral broker, you are able to, and especially if this broker is connect multiple clouds, you are able to take benefit of all existing heterogeneous cloud. Now, in order to solve the problem that I talked about, we have been associated as a Prologue into a project called Compatible One that has been funded by the French government. And this project has created a platform that allows the deployment of application on multiple heterogeneous cloud as indicated here. So the consumers or the clients express their needs in terms of requirements, business requirements, technical requirements, or policy requirements. And those needs are compiled, parsed, and generate a provisioning plan that goes select the best cloud that fits with those requirements. So it can be, the end could be one cloud, it could be two clouds, it could be multiple clouds. Everything will be transparent for the user. And those clouds have been all connected. So we've connected proprietary cloud like Amazon, Azure, Cloud Sigma, and or standard stack-based cloud like Akula, which is a cloud stack, and CloudWatt, which is a public cloud in France based on Openstack. We connected also VMware. So our experience today, when presenting this to the customer, they really like it. They like first the dashboard, the common dashboard, which is presented to them. In order to them, they could be IT developers, they could be administrators, they could play different roles. And they have one unique interface to define their application, to decide on some specific requirements for their application, and to ask to deploy. They can ask to deploy on one particular cloud, or they can say, just select the clouds that fit those requirements. And then the applications are loaded into the clouds. And moreover, beyond this deployment status or stage, there is a possibility of looking at where the applications are, measuring their performance. And in every virtual machine, we embed an agent, a software agent, that measures the consumption of this application, and this all being reported to the client. So there's real-time cost analysis which could be done. And at the same time, there are interoperation between the clouds. So there is orchestrator that allows, for instance, when one application terminates or upon a certain criteria, we can trigger the execution of another application in another cloud. So this is really a universal broker. It's an open source project. It's called Compatible One. Everybody can get it. And we've made an industrial version of this open source project. Now, KOPS is a company, KOPS Technology is a company which is based in Bordeaux, but they are spread across France. They have 10 agencies, and they have around 1,000 clients, where for those clients, they host their application into an infrastructure data center. And they found hard time to convince their clients to adopt the cloud. So they decided to convince them that private cloud is interesting. And when they do private cloud, they can go to public cloud when they need. It's not fundamental, or it's not something mandatory that they should go to public cloud. But they said with the private cloud, you're going to benefit of a new usage model, self-service. You're going to benefit from a lot of flexibility and everything we know about private cloud. And when you need, you can go to a public cloud seamlessly. And we have for you a bridge, which is Usage Cloud Broker from Prologue. And this bridge allows you to see your workload, which are inside the private cloud, and your workload, which are outside your private cloud in a public cloud, specifically CloudWatt. So the launch phase was based on CloudWatt. And one of the criteria of adoption of the private cloud was that the adoption of Openstack as a stack within the private cloud versus some proprietary stack like VMware or Microsoft. So the adoption of Openstack was a fundamental choice into the whole picture. And the implementation or the deployment of the Usage Cloud Broker allowing to go to an OpenStack cloud, it happens, that the first launch was an OpenStack cloud, but the possibility exists also to go to other clouds like what I have been showing in the other picture. So this was really the offering that has been announced last week, but there is more marketing activity which is going to take place to explain this to everybody. and show the value proposition, the price which goes with it. So the hardware which has been selected for the private cloud is based on HP. The Openstack stack, which has been deployed on HP hardware, is from Red Hat. CloudWatt is the public cloud, and the broker comes from Prologue. So you see here the kind of configuration which are proposed that fits really the kind of clients that they are aiming at. And those clients goes from 1,000 employee company to 10,000 employee company. And of course, elasticity exists. For instance, going beyond 100 here, going beyond 20 here, it is possible very, very quickly. So this is the list of functions that the Use It Cloud Broker does. And all of them are very important, particularly the evolution toward other clouds when there is a need to add more than one public cloud. So I terminate my talk by explaining in clear text what is the rationale that has been adopted to do this hybrid configuration for the French market, for those companies that are 10,000 employees and below. So first of all, it's the adoption of OpenStack as the best way to embrace the public cloud opportunity. And this is K-Ops guy speaking, saying that the challenge that they have is externalization of workload or infrastructure is something very difficult in their client park. And they decided to do so by transforming the local infrastructure in dedicated private cloud and avoiding everything related to proprietary stack within the private cloud and adopting the OpenStack, and then deciding on Use It Cloud Broker as a bridge between the OpenStack Cloud Private and the OpenStack Cloud Public. So I hope this is going to be a good experience, and we're going to have a good success. But really, the takeaway is the fact that we have been working on an open source project. We decided to industrialize the version of Compatible One into Use It Cloud Broker. And we had a hard time to market this because by ourselves, it's not an end by itself, the broker. It's a mean of getting clouds or multi-cloud interoperate. So if we cannot market the cloud itself because we are not cloud provider. And we found, or they found us in fact, a company who is in the cloud business, who want to start a business around a cloud. So whether it's private, whether it's public, they were a bit, they were hesitating between doing a public cloud like CloudWatt or only attacking their markets where they know their customers and transform their customers into private cloud clients, and adding this, cherry on the cake, like if you want to go to the public cloud, we have the bridge for you, and it's easy to do. And before the public announcement, we already have a client with whom we are working, and they are bringing, this client in particular is bringing to us very, very big challenges because there are things we didn't imagine in configuring the clouds and things related to security, instant scalability, and pricing, of course, because managing the cloud should stay in terms of price below a certain percentage. It should not exceed the cloud consumption itself. So the pricing approach is really something that cloud broker need to work on in order to avoid rejection on the market. So I hope I've been sharing with you this experience successfully, and I'm available for your questions.